Okay, so welcome back everyone to this tutorial. I said we are moving into learning how to use Tableau. Okay, so for the next series of our class till the end, I'm thinking of making long series videos. So instead of making 10 minutes per day, why don't we make like 1 hour straight video and then you can divide it into sections yourself. The reason why I'm giving this option is because I'm gonna be very, very busy next month. So I'm looking for a way to like compile the series together in one long video. It will be easier for me to make long videos, okay, so that I can just put them out there and then you can decide that, okay, I'm coming to watch the first 10 minutes today, I'm going to practice the next 10 minutes tomorrow and practice. So I think that works for me. Let me know in the comments if it works for you guys because that is currently what I'm planning to do. Okay. So to start with, we are going to be importing data into Tableau that we'll be working with. Okay. So you can import Excel file, you can import text file, JSON file, Microsoft Access, PDF file, any type of file, and you can connect it to a server. Okay. So you can connect your data as well to a server that it will automatically get data from that server. Okay. So those are the ways that you can import data in Tableau. Okay. So now I said we are going to use the healthcare data set we started with in SQL. That is the same one that we are using for this Tableau tutorial. So I'm first gonna open the file that we used. No. Let's run this first. Okay, I'm in the master's database. So let me change it to this. Okay, so if I run this first, you see that this is our data. Remember that this data is already cleaned. We did a lot of data cleaning here right before we wanted to start Tableau. So that means our data set is clean. So what we are going to do is double tap here. Like I said, if you want to copy it, you have to double tap here. Then you do Control Shift C to copy it together with the column header. Okay. So once that is done, you can just open your Excel. Okay, so once your Excel is open, then you can just do Control V to paste it. Okay, so this is our data set pasted here, right here. Okay, so this is our clean data. This is not just the data set that we originally have next. So if we were using I think if we were using the paid version, then there's a way we can connect the SQL directly with Tableau. Okay, but because we are using the free version, we can't really do that at this time. Okay, but I don't know if there's any upgrade, but the last time I checked, it has to be the paid version. Okay, so after you have your data set right here, you can just save it as an Excel file. Let me see. Yeah, we can just save it as an Excel file, so we can use that import method. So let me just save now. Okay, so let's save it. So now I've saved the data set with Tableau data set. Okay, I can close it in Excel now. And then I can close my SQL because I'm done for now. So now back to Tableau, I can just come here to a file because our file is Microsoft Excel file. I can then click on Microsoft Excel and open up the file. I just clicked open on the file and then it's going to get the file from the PC. Okay, so now you can see that we have the data set right here, and this is just a preview of the data set we just imported. Okay, we have the ID, we have the age, gender. These are our columns. So this place is just showing us the data type for each of the column. All right, so you can see this hash in Tableau means it is a numeric data type. So where anywhere you see this hash, you can see up here too for each column. It's showing us hash here. This means that it is numerical data that is in the column, which is correct. Hash also means numerical data. ABC means string. ABC means string. Can you say that? String. This is date. That's why it's showing like calendar. So date will show calendar data type. And if you scroll to the left, so whenever you want to import a data set into Tableau, you want to make sure that Tableau matches the right data type. So you can just cross check by just viewing it. Hash numeric. So everything looks good right now. Yes, everything looks good. So let's say we want to change data type. We can just click on this hash. You can see it's currently numerical whole number. Let's say I change it to decimal, please. You can see that I change it to decimal. I can change it back to whole number. I can change it to date time. String means textual data. Okay, and if you have a data set on geographic region like city, states, or something like that, you can give it, you can tell Tableau that, oh, this is a state, this is a country, so that Tableau will automatically generate longitude and latitude for that particular column. Do we have anything like state and city in this data set? Let me see. If we don't, then I may have to import another data set that has state and city. So I could give, okay, so we don't have, okay. So I could show you how to use map in Tableau. Okay, so how to create map in Tableau. Okay, so I'm gonna just find a data set to quickly explain map. All right, don't worry about that. So you can see we have the different, if you want to reset the name, copy the values, create calculated field. I'm going to explain this calculated field and groups when we start with the class. Okay, and then this is the sheet name. Okay, if you have multiple data sets, if you're working in a company, you know, when we have Excel workbook, we might have different worksheets inside the workbook. So you remember that we can, this is worksheet one, we can have another worksheet, right? And we may want to connect the two worksheets, maybe the ID here. There's another ID here that is telling us more details about the patient. We now want to connect the two data. You remember we do use VLOOKUP when we were talking about something like that in Excel. And we use join in SQL. Exactly. So we can do something like that too in Tableau, all right? That's connecting data. That's this connection right here. So you can just connect the data, click on the plus here to connect data. Can you see? Because we only have one sheet, so there's nothing to connect. That's why this plus is not working. But if you have something like that, you just draw this and connect it to another sheet that we have, right? All right, so when you're done checking the entire data set and you feel like the data type, everything is correctly formatted, don't forget I said if you had a state or region, anything that has to do with location, you want to change the data type to, like, you come to this geographic region. If it's country, you click country. If it's city, you click city for it. If it's state or province, you click it, so that it automatically generates longitude and latitude for your data set. Okay, so once you're done like connecting your data, the next thing we want to do is to go to the worksheet where we'll start creating our charts and dashboard. Okay, so now I'll just come to this place. You can see sheet one, just click on it. All right, and then it brings us to this tab where we can now start creating our chart. Now let me explain this whole interface to you, what each one of them does before we go into the practical aspects. So I don't just do the practical, but you understand what each of them means, okay? All right, so let's start with the explanation for this data pan. Okay, so for this data pan, this is where you're going to see all the data sets that you imported. Okay, so we only imported one data set, which is the healthcare data. So here you're going to see everything contained in your table. You can see these are the columns we have in the healthcare data table, and you have to know that it's going to separate our data into two categories. We have what we call the dimensions, and we have what we call the measures. Okay, so it will split our data into two categories. These ones right here, before this line division that you can see right here, is the dimension, and this one at the bottom right here is the measures. Okay, so now let me tell you the difference between dimensions and measures. You see, dimension are just like qualitative data or categorical data. You can see that blood type can be in categories. Admission type is a categorical data. Date of admission is still like dates. We can say, okay, Monday, some people fall under the Monday category, Tuesday, blah, blah, blah. Discharge dates, doctor, gender, hospital, ID. ID can be categorical too, because we can have duplicate ID in our data set. You can see that all of this is put it under the dimension because they are more like categorical data, or we can also call it qualitative data. Okay, we can use this to slice and group our data. We already know all of these things. Okay, and when we talk about measures, which is the second category that we have down here, the measures are called quantitative or numeric data. Okay, quantity, when we want to quantify something, they are also numeric. Numeric data are also quantitative data, all right? We can use it to aggregate. By aggregation, you already know what aggregation means, like find the sum, average, count, all of these things. So we can use the numerical data to aggregate. Okay, so example is this billing amount, age. I don't know why it's added age under aggregate, but yeah, because it is numeric data, basically that is why it's added it here. Okay, so I believe now you understand the difference between dimensions and measure. And whenever you put your data, whenever you import your data and it appears in the data pan, I don't know if it should be pan or pane. I guess it should be pan. Okay, you guys forgive me, I studied statistics in school, not English. Okay, so, and yeah, it's going to divide it into dimension and measures. All right, so let's move to the next thing we have to learn. Let's talk about the shelves. By shelves, I mean shelves. Okay, the shelves are just this top right and this top and left side. Okay, where we can drag fields into them to control how our data appears in the chart. You see these columns, rows, filters, pages. These are what we call shelves. Okay, now let me explain what each of the shelf does. For example, this row, whatever column we drag into these rows, it determines what will appear on the y-axis. I hope we know the difference between y and x-axis. So whenever you want to create a table, or sorry, whenever you want to create a chart, you know it's going to be, one is going to be vertical, one is going to be horizontal. This vertical line right here is the y-axis. The horizontal one that is going to be down here like this is the x-axis. So anything you drag into these rows will be on the y-axis. That's the vertical part of it. Okay, and for the columns, anything you drag into this column will appear on the x-axis, which is the horizontal part. Let's quickly see an example of what I'm talking about. So let's say we want to drag medical conditions into the into the x-axis. X-axis will be what? What are we going to drag it to now? That will be columns. I hope you got it right. So x-axis represents columns, y-axis represents rows. So anyone that is categorical data, I want to drag it into the x-axis. All right, you can see that is appearing on a horizontal line. Okay, and then I want to see the average billing amounts for the medical condition. So I can come down here to where we have the measures. Okay, where these are the numerical data, and we have billing amounts here. So I can drag the billing amounts to the y-axis, and you can see it will automatically create a chart for us. Okay, you can see now that on this vertical, which is the y-axis, that is the row that we dragged, and on this horizontal, which is the x-axis, that's the medical condition, which is the categorical data. So most of the time you'll be putting your categorical data in the x-axis and your numerical data in the y-axis. I said most of the time, not all of the time. Okay, so if I want it to show up in this entire space, then I can come here where I have standard. I can click the drop down and change it to entire view. It's gonna show me in the entire view. Can you see? It looks like the different category, the average billing for each one is like close to each other. I can change the chart type in this show me section. Let's say I want to change it to a bar chart, a pie chart rather. You can see I can change it. I can change it to a table. You can see it's now showing me as a table. I can change it to this type of table as well. I can change it to this. I can change it to this. Can you see? I can change it to this. All right. So I can change it to different type of charts by just coming to this show me to change it to different charts. Okay. Can you see how easy and simple this is looking? All right, so we don't need to really take time on some of these tools like the Tableau, Power BI, because they are quite for visualization, and because you already have knowledge of visualization from Excel, we can transfer some of the skills to this software. All right, so yeah, so that's just for the explanation of rows, column, and I hope you understand it now. Okay, so if I don't want the chart again, all I can just do is drag this out and drag this out. Okay, so I'll have my plain background again, and you see these filters right there is going to just allow us narrow our data down visually. Okay, so you remember filters, you remember slicer from Excel that will give us like a drop down where we can pick what we want to see, that kind of filter. Okay, so this can allow us do that. So I just want to undo back to the chart I had earlier so I can explain the filter. So we already have the medical condition by the total billing. If you want to change it to average billing, you can see that, okay, I forgot to mention, you can see that once I drag the billing to these rows, it's calculated the aggregate automatically. Okay, it's got the sum. If I want to change it to average or something, I can just click on the drop down beside it, and you can see under this measure, I told you measure is like the one that can be aggregate. You can see that we can change it to average. You can get the median, count distance, maximum, standard deviation, variance. Every calculation you can do it here. So let's try to change it to average. Okay, so now this is the medical condition by the average billing amount right here. Okay, so let's try to add the admission type as filter. So maybe we want to see that by each admission type, what is the medical condition and what is the average billing amount. So I can just drag admission type to the filters right here, and it's going to pop up this tab. That means it's going to ask me that, do I want to use all of it as filter? So I can just select all and I can apply it and say okay. So you can see now in this filter section, my admission type column now appears there. So if I click on this drop down and I show filter, it's going to show me the filter now. Can you see now that we now have this filter on this right hand side, because I said it should show me. So it's another thing to create the filter, is another thing for it to show you. So if you create it without asking it to show you, you're just going to be looking for it and you don't know where to find it. Okay, so now it's currently showing us all the admission type. Let's say I don't want to see all, I only want to see the emergency. So now we can see that this is the medical condition for emergency and this is the average billing amount for each one. I may decide that I want to see urgent. Okay, so this is for urgent, and I can change the way it is showing me. If I want it to in form of a drop down instead of the way I have to tick all these things, I don't want to be ticking, I can click on this drop down and do single value drop down. Okay, so you can see now it's going to appear as a drop down. So I can just pick emergency, I can just pick urgent, and if I want to see for everything, I can pick all. All right, so you now understand what filters does. All right, so now let's talk about pages in Tableau. You see pages, these pages right here, it basically allows to break a visualization into a series of individual views. It's more like a slideshow. Okay, each page can show us a slice of the data based on the field we place there. Let's put the gender column in the pages right here. Okay, so you can see now that it's going to show us in form of like a slideshow. I can just say, okay, I want to see the second page male. It's going to add it. The first page female, the second page male. Okay, let's add another category so you understand the pages more. Let me add the insurance provider. Okay, so you can see that we have different insurance provider. I can say, okay, take me to the next page right here. That's Blue Cross. You can see if I click on the next slide, so it's gonna show me just like that. It's similar to filter, but it's just that this one is just gonna show us like a slideshow where we can pick from. And this is how we can use the shelves, which contains the column, rows, pages, and filters. Next, let me explain to you what the canvas is. You see, the canvas is just this center. It is the visualization area where your charts or your graph is displayed. So as you can see here, all of this place is our canvas. If we remove the charts we created, there will be nothing in our canvas. So this place is what we call the canvas. That's where your charts or your graph will appear. Okay, so another thing we should talk about as a beginner is the mark cards. Okay, so you can see we have something like marks here, so we call it marks card. What it basically does is it helps us to customize the appearance of our charts in terms of color, size, text, detail, tooltip. Okay, and we are going to see how each one of these works right now. So let me just do Control Z. You can do Control Z in Tableau if you want to undo whatever you've done before. Tableau is very friendly. Okay, so let me do Control Z so I can have my charts back, and then we can see how we can use these marks for the charts. All right, so let's say we want to change the color for each of these bars. You see it's currently blue color. I can just come to the marks, click on the color and change it to, let's say, this color. You see, once I click on it, you can see it changed the color for the bars. Exactly. So that is what the max is used for. Let's say I want to reduce the size for each of these bars. I can click here and then it's going to reduce the size for the bars. So for the labels now, okay, so let's say we want to add labels, we want to show mark label. If I check this show mark label, it's going to give us the exact value that each of the batch bars is. Okay, and you can use it for other type of charts. So the same way I'm applying these marks to this type of chart is the same way you can apply it to other type of charts. You want to make it bold. If I bolden it now, you see that the text gets bold. Okay, and then we can change the color. Let's say we want to do black. Okay, it's got already black. Sorry, it's already black. So let's say I want to do blue. You see it's gonna change the text color to blue. And the alignments, if you want to do it automatic, you want to be at the center, all of that, you can do that here. So this is what we can use the label for, to like label the actual value on top of each bars. And then we have the details section. Okay, come up on the bars. You can see this white shape following me up and down. You can see we have insurance provider inside it. It's going to state the insurance provider, which is United Healthcare. Remember, in the pages we picked the pages for United Healthcare. Okay, it's telling me that, okay, this bar is representing insurance provider United Healthcare. In the United Healthcare, for the medical condition arthritis, the average billing amount is 25,627. Okay, so this is what is entailed in the details section. If I come for the second one, you can see that the medical condition changed. This one is for asthma, why this one is for this. Okay, if I come here now, this one is also different. This is the medical condition is cancer, and the billing amount is also different. Okay, so this is what is contained in the details section. The details section that we currently have is based off the facts of what we have in our shelves. Okay, that is what we currently have in the details section, but we may want to see other things in this details section. Like, okay, so we can see other things in this details section. We may want to say that, okay, what medication, so I can just drag this medication column to inside the details section. You can see if I'm coming inside, it's showing like this ash color, right? So you just drag it and drop it inside the medication. If I up on it now, can you see that it divided it into different medication? And now inside our detail is now showing insurance provider, medical condition, medication, and also average billing amounts. You can see this segment is for ibuprofen, and this section is for aspirin, this section is for Lipitor, this section paracetamol. So it divided into section, and it's also included in our label. Okay, so the reason why it divided into section here is because the medication is also a categorical data. Okay, but if you just want to see something more in your detail section, you can just drag it inside the detail and it's automatically going to appear here. And that is what the detail section is basically used for. Lastly, let me explain what the tooltip here is used for. Now, you can see that we have a lot of stuff written in our detail section, like the insurance provider, the medical condition, the average billing amount. So let's say for the average billing amount, I don't want it to show average billing amount. I just want it to show me average amount and show the value. So I can come here to the tooltip, click on it to edit it. You can see that everything I have in my detail section is appearing right here in my tooltip. We have average insurance provider. This is what will get the insurance provider value. Okay, so let's say we did not see this. We don't know the insurance provider value, right? How can we just put it ourselves? You can just come to this insert right here in the tooltip, and then you're going to see insurance provider. If you click on it, it's going to generate the value automatically. Okay, and then I said, let's say we want to just call it average amount, not average billing amount. So this one is the text that is going to show us. while this one with the less than, greater than sign at the beginning and end is the value. And the value is only gotten when you come to this insert to insert it. Okay, if there's a value that you want to include but you cannot find a, that means that you first have to come and drag it into the detail section. Once you drag it into the detail section, you are going to see it in the tooltip in this insert. Okay, so now I can edit this to average amount and I can just say okay. If I come now, can you see now that it's showing me, instead of average billing amount, it's just showing me average amount. Okay, so the tooltip is where you can edit it. So let's say I don't want it to show them the medical condition. I can remove it. If I say okay now, the only thing it's going to show me is the insurance provider and the average amount, because I said it should not show me that the other one. Okay, so I can just undo now. Can you see Control Z to undo, and you can see now that it's now showing me the medical condition again. Okay, so this is how we can use these marks. And also, if you want to, this drop down, I'm sure you're already wondering, how about the drop down? So the drop down is basically to change the type of chart that you have. You can see it's currently set to automatic. That's because Tableau is the one who gets this type of chart to us. Okay, but we can say, okay, I don't want it to be a bar chart, I want it to be a line chart. Can you see it's gonna create a line chart for it? I can say, oh, I don't want it to be a line chart, let me see what it looks like as area chart. You can see now that it's showing us area chart. Remember that we added label. If you want to remove the label, you can easily just come here and uncheck this box. It's gonna remove those labels. Okay, and then you can say you want it as shapes. You can see, so the bigger the shape, the bigger the value. That's what this one represents. But you can see that this is not a good visualization for this data, because all the shapes are looking the same. So that is not a good visualization. Okay, you can say pie chart. Okay, so there are two ways in which you can do this visualization. Like, you can pick the type of chart you want. You can either come here under the marks and change it here. Okay, or you can come to this show me section and change the type of chart you want. Okay, so you can see we can use different type of charts. Just make sure that your chart is as simple as possible. You can see that all these ones are looking too complicated. How do I want to start explaining all of this to my stakeholder? It's too complex. So I can just pick a very simple kind of chart to explain my analysis. That is just to show you the ways you can create your different type of charts. And if you want to show them as a table, you can also do that from the show me section. So now I've successfully explained to you the canvas, which is the workspace, the shelf, which is where we have all of these ones. I've showed you what we use it for. The data pan, which is this angle here where we have it divided into dimensions and measures. We also have the marks card, where we can add coloring, fonts, all of that, like formatting to our charts. Okay, so I believe we still remember the type of charts that we talked about at the beginning of this class, where we talked about the bar charts, line charts, and when to use each of them. So you also need that, because we've gotten to the aspect where we have to visualize our data. So if you can't remember, you need to go back to your notes to remember everything we said about different chart type. I told you, let me just give you a quick recap of what we discussed then, so you can remember what we said. So remember that I told you back then that bar chart is used to compare categories, used to show like the aggregates, like the count of something, the average, the sum, the total part category. And this is what we have here. These ones are categorical data, and we are getting the total billing amount for each categorical data. So it's used for comparing categories. And I told you that the line chart is used for trends over time. So for this kind of data, line chart is not suitable. You can see how the line chart looks. It doesn't look suitable at all. So it's line chart is mostly used to show trends over time. So if we work with like this dates column, do we have anything on dates here? Okay, dates, like this dates column, like we have the date of admission, then we can use the line chart to show the trend over time of something. So it is used to track values across dates, months, or years. Okay, I'm just giving you a quick recap in case you've forgotten. So, and the pie chart, I said, is used to show proportion or parts of a whole. So if we have categories, but they are not more than like 3 or maximum of 4 categories, then we can use the pie chart to show that. Lastly, the text table is just to display extract numbers. So if we come here, we can show the table, something like this. Can you see? So it's just going to show us the exact number. It's more like creating pivot table in Excel. Like you just want to see the number. It is great for like reporting or numeric comparison. Okay. So we have a lot of charts that we can use, as you can see here. So you just make sure that you're using the most suitable chart for your analysis whenever you want to create your chart and dashboard. Okay, so let's just pause here right now. I'm gonna make another video. I'm trying to push out like 3 to 4 videos today, so that it doesn't affect my work week. All right, so you can just watch this video, take your time. If you want to spend 2 days in watching it, divide it into sections. Make sure you practice everything that I've said in this video. All right, so I'm just gonna make the long video, and let me know your opinion on the long videos before I make the next one. But before we go, you need to save this work so that whenever you come back, if you still need this table, so you can just press Ctrl S to save. Okay, so when you press Ctrl X, it's basically going to ask you to sign into your Tableau public. So once you sign in, you put in your email and your password and you sign in, it's gonna send this into your Tableau public automatically. Okay, I think it's because I'm signed in now. You see that it's not asking for my login again. It's just asking me for the title. So let me just name it something like Students Practical. Right, so I'm just going to name it Students Practical and save. Okay, so once I save, it's gonna send it. Can you see saving to? So as you can see, once it finishes, it's going to open the Tableau public, and then it's going to show you what is saved in your Tableau public. But I'm signed in, I can just come here to, okay, so I can come here to settings. You can see this part that says show VIX on profile. So I can just turn it off so that nobody will be able to see it for now till I'm done creating my dashboard. Okay, and next time that I want to continue, now I can close this tab. Next time if I want to continue working on the project, I can just, instead of importing the data all over again, I can just do Ctrl O to open from where I stopped. All right, and yeah, that is that about that.